Hey, much as the little pup might be on the more disliked side, I've always stood by saying that the first season of Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo is still a totally solid seasonal entry in the franchise. And ever since I picked up the season on DVD and gave it a good thorough watch a few years ago, there's one episode I've wanted to single out in particular and haven't yet been back to. So today, not only are we going to have some fun in this outcast of a season, we are also going to be switching things up from the Scariest Villains series. Scariest? No, not today. Sexiest Scooby-Doo villains. Entry number 1. We are looking at Season 1, Episode 15. Lock the Door, It's a Minotaur. Originally aired December 29, 1979. And being the last episode of 1979, it's also the final episode to have a typical mystery for an episode until the new Scooby-Doo and Scrappy-Doo show aired 4 years later, which is to say this is the final normal episode before the series rebooted itself into the Scrappy-focused series people are less fond of until that point. And the last one to feature the entire gang as main characters in something all at the same time for a good while as well. And because we're in the last few episodes of the season, this is around the time that Pat Stevens, the second Velma, left the series permanently, and was unfortunately voiced here instead by Marla Frumpkin. If you've seen any videos of this era I've done, like recently on the new Scooby-Doo Mysteries, you know she and I have beef, nice as she may be, and this is one of the episodes that serves as the reason why. You'll see, we all will see, and hear. Outside of the full season release, this one also made it onto 2012's DVD compilation set 13 Spooky Tales Around the World. Let's get into what makes our titular villain, in this case the Minotaur, the sexiest Scooby-Doo villain of the day. This episode drops us right into the Greek islands without the gang even being here. All of these people panicking to get out as the sun begins to set and the Minotaur wakes up. As this sculpted head looms, the big guy himself enters the picture, and he's already pissed. These two are absolutely terrified as he walks up and shows off his beautiful, gorgeous, sculpted body, saying he's returned to claim the island. As these two get away, he says the night belongs to him and gets in a good chuckle. The gang, meanwhile, are out on the water headed to Helos Island, and Velma unfortunately has the first spoken line of them. Shaggy is already impressed by this large yacht as they pull in, their captain saying it belongs to Lord Silvertree, who comes here every year from England.
Jinkies, where's our luggage?
Oh, this may only have 19 minutes left, but it's gonna be a long 19 minutes. Suddenly, Scrappy walks out with said luggage to remind us he's here as well. Out of nowhere, they hear a nasty snarl, and immediately come face to face with the Minotaur. Their captain books it out as fast as he can, abandoning them with the big guy, and the hunk warns them to leave his island before he disappears.
What's a Minotaur?
It's an ancient creature that's half man and half bull.
Thank you, Frumpkin Velma.
Until now, I thought he was only a myth.
Well, he's one monster I'll be happy to myth. Myth?
They all head off to figure out what's going on. Thanks to Scrappy, the boys find themselves barreling down this path and into a building, and as they think they're safe, out he pops. The guys run off and take Scrappy, but I would have waited to see what he wanted to do to me first at least. Scrappy thinks he sees him again and tackles someone, and his bag rips and spills olives everywhere, tripping the boys as the others arrive.
My olives!
Turns out this guy is Petros Skoros, who owns a taverna nearby and olive groves. Lord Silvertree disturbs the little piece left to threaten the old man that his shipment of olives better be on his yacht in the morning when he leaves, or else. Minotaur or no Minotaur. Velma decides they should head to the taverna and ask Petros further questions, and he answers quickly.
Who's there?
Scooby!
Scooby who?
Scooby-Doo!
He invites the boys in, while the other three seem to be gone, I guess, and inside they get another fright as the shadow looks to be the Minotaur, but with more light it actually turns out to be Petros' friend, total stud muffin Nick Papas. He could be my papas. Oh, and I guess the rest of the gang came inside finally. Apparently he works on Lord Silvertree's yacht during summer vacations from art school, and he joins them to say the Minotaur was an ancient legend prophesized, said to rise from his temple to rule the night. Fred declares it an official mystery, and they head out to look into this supposed temple. We see the same entranceway with the bullhead from before as they enter, and Scooby discovers a hunky stone Minotaur carved into a very large throne. The others head down a passageway, while the boys stay behind playing tic-tac-toe, until a foot stops their game. The shadowy figure appears ominous as it carries Scrappy off, but we then find it to only be Petros, who was worried and came to warn them about the ruins. As he leaves, Scrappy finds an interesting silver coin that seems to have the Minotaur on it, and just like that, our sexy icon has manifested manifested behind them on the throne. Unknowingly, they hop on it and sit on him. And I know a lot of us are very jealous right now. They literally start bouncing on it. They are bouncing on the thick, hunky Minotaur. Amazing. Scrappy finally tells them, but he already has them in his grasp.
And now you are mine.
Where were we? Oh yes, the Minotaur said the boys are his. Can I be his next? He hugs them even tighter because they get all of the luck, and for some reason pop themselves out to escape, grabbing Scrappy on the way. The other three having found nothing, they're shocked to hear the boys screaming and decide to follow. The boys already ran out though, and the Minotaur has followed, but the feet that step into Scrappy's trap instead appear to be poor Petros, his olives falling everywhere yet again. As he explains, the cave the boys ran to is his olive storehouse, a former bomb shelter where people would hide during the war. According to him, they even buried treasures, not all of which were ever found. Meanwhile, Velma seems very interested in this fire, but since it's so late, they head back to the taverna for the night. Petros even gives them a great meal, and Scrappy tries to pay with that coin they found, but Petros says it's not money. Velma takes it to get a better look, and decides they should take a closer look at the throne where it was found. The boys decide to stay behind this time and take care of the bill, Shaggy having his American Cowards Club card, but unfortunately the Minotaur decided to come to them instead, so they run away.
Oops, nearly forgot. Don't run off without it.
The Minotaur opens up this wardrobe and reveals the trio prepared for a classic dance, grabbing him and forcing him to join, and he really gets into it. Seems like he is having the time of his life here. They run off again to a dead end, and the Minotaur gives them another warning, Scrappy trying to give him some swats, but I'm distracted by the juicy sculpted legs on this beast man. Running away, the boys bump into this wall, which spins them around and away from the Minotaur, but sliding down and into a whole new area. Big Hunky is still after them, so they run off into a maze, Scrappy flying onto this chandelier that pulls down a secret opening, allowing the three to escape without him following again. The others witness the throne open and the boys rising from below.
Jinkies! It must be the ancient labyrinth of the Minotaur. This is just the break we've been looking for. Labyrinth?
It's so bad. It's so bad. Was this really acceptable in 1979? This was good enough? Anyway, they turn the horns as they realize it activates the secret entrance. The girls hopping on and going down. The boys would rather stay this time, so on his way down, Fred tells them to check the dock. Over in the labyrinth.
Look at these marks. Something heavy was dragged this way.
Really? We honestly could not get a better take? A more realistic line read than this one? This is the best we got? Fred then finds the secret wall opening the boys went through earlier, and Daphne finds a piece of painted canvas hidden in the taverna's olives.
Jinkies! That's the missing clue. It is! And Shaggy and the dogs are in terrible danger.
Terrible danger! It gets me every time. They head to the docks while Shaggy and Scooby are cheerfully eating the olives on the yacht. Scrappy then finds the sack belonging to the Minotaur, and a shadow looming the great beast himself stands before them laughing. Shaggy decides there's only one way out, to just faint and peace out, which, sure. Scrappy tries the bullfighter trick with the yacht flag, and it starts to really piss off the bull man, enough to wake Scooby up instinctively so he can jump to his nephew's rescue. Of course, the Minotaur now has its sights set on Scoob, running at him, so Scoob tosses the flag on the hunky beast, who now, in a literal blind rage, rushes forward and falls off the yacht, and as he's drowning, everyone else has made their way over on the dock, citizens of the island cheering. As Velma explains it, the Minotaur was after those treasures hidden during the war and never recovered. Their first clue was the pieces of art frames found in the campfire, which is news to me because Velma seemed to only be finding regular wood. We did not see this setup prior beyond her looking at the fire.
The villain found the paintings in the labyrinth beneath the ruins. Labyrinth?
Isn't Marla Frumpkin so special? Obsessed with how she says labyrinth. Anyway, the Minotaur disguise was to scare people off while he would use his big old sack to carry off the treasure discreetly to his hiding spot behind the taverna. The heavy sacks left marks on the ground which they found in the labyrinth, but not all of the treasure was made up of paintings, as there were things like statues, one of which Daphne pulls out, hidden in the olives. Thelma pulls out even more. As Fred explains, they realized this when they found that canvas in them earlier. The treasure was headed to England, ready to be sold on the black market by Nick Papas. The big hunk was secretly the big hunk Papas himself.
And I almost got away with it.
Yes, growl for me, Papas. As an art student, as established earlier, Nick was able to see the value in these treasures easily, but Velma reveals the biggest clue, which is the coin. In reality, this was part of Nick's belt that broke off. Also obsessed with how he just is low-key a furry with his fursuit head off at this point, Petros takes our papas off and promises they'll make sure he returns the art. And while Scrappy is ready to go full tourist now, the boys are too tired given that they just stayed up the entire night and need some rest. Scoob accidentally kicks them free and drops them off into the water though, quickly joined by Scrappy, so the trio watch as the boys are forced into sightseeing anyway.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo! And Scrappy-Dappy-Doo, too!
And that's Lock the Door, it's a Minotaur! Like I said, this particular season of Scooby is a pretty underrated and enjoyable entry, and this episode is no different. The only real downside here is Velma, as Frumpkin is an absolute disaster in this one. She became almost tolerable at the very end of her run, but this early episode might be one of the worst performances that she clocked in for. Sometimes I feel bad ragging on her, but man if this one doesn't deserve it. The villain is highly memorable, however, as for whatever reason they decided to not only make a great Minotaur design, they also decided to make him sexy as hell. If you grew up with this episode, you are now attracted to Minotaurs. He's definitely not the scariest villain. However, I would actually argue that maybe you could say he could be, because devils are often similarly designed like this. And I could see younger audiences seeing the bullhead with the black and red eyes and finding him to be very off-putting or scary actually. This shot in particular, I feel like this would have scared me if I saw this episode young enough. For the final episode to feature a proper mystery for a good chunk of time, this one is also pretty decent, except for cluing us in on the fire a little bit more. Overall, this one does actually lay a lot of groundwork for you to try and piece things together as you go on, and I appreciate that Nick turns out to be just as hot as the villain he's portraying. It really is only decent of them to do. I will also say that Scrappy continues to be kind of annoying in this initial season when Lenny Weinrib was first voicing him. He truly does become so much more redeemable and likable as soon as Weinrib asked for too much money after one more episode and they recast him with Scooby's voice actor Don Messick. Even so, he never truly takes away from this season. He's just a minor nuisance most of the time. This season has a lot of really good episodes, and I think this one will always remain one of the most memorable for me. Between the bizarre performance for Velma and the incredibly memorable villain, this one is a must-see in my opinion. Anyway, I think that's all we have for this one. I just covered another episode of this season a little while back, Rocky Mountain Yay! As well as the Lady Vampire of the Bay episode I left my neck in San Francisco. If you want some other videos on this same Scooby season. If you want to support the channel, the Patreon is now live for that purpose, and I get the feeling that you're gonna see a couple more videos talking about this season. So if you like that, stay tuned. See you then. Bye!